Hey everyone, welcome back. In the last video, we learned how to deploy a simple Spring Boot application on local Kubernetes cluster. Now, before we can do anything meaningful, we need to understand some fundamental concepts related to Kubernetes. And one of them that we are going to discuss in this video is configurations and secrets. So any application has some configurations and we keep these configurations typically in application.yaml or profile specific YAMLs or any application.properties file. These configurations could be static and they could also be dynamic. In the same way, applications sometimes need to manage some secrets like your DB password, your API token. There are many ways to handle and properly store the configurations and secrets. So for example, we generally use Vault to keep the secrets secure and so that we can rotate them, we can have more control on the secrets outside the code base. In the same way, there are solutions like Spring Cloud Config Server where we can use, let's say, a Git repository, a public or a private Git repository to store the configurations outside the code base. Now, one that we are going to discuss in this video is a Kubernetes specific solution because Kubernetes also supports some ways to actually manage your configurations and secrets so that you can keep them outside of your code base. Alright, so it's not that Kubernetes is superior to, let's say, Spring Cloud Config Server, or for secrets you don't need to use any other vault, just rely on the Kubernetes. It's not like that. It's just that there are different ways to do the same thing and we need to understand and know all those things. Alright, having said this, let's get started. So here we have the same application that we created in the last video. For this demo, I have created a new branch on top of the last feature branch. So in this case, we have added couple of configurations, some properties in the application.yaml, and these are dummy configurations. They don't have any functionality to touch or to change. So these are just dummy configurations to show you how can you actually use Kubernetes support for configurations and secrets. So here we have a simple property app.message which represents your configuration and the current value is demo application. Then this represents your secret value which is API token, and this must be encrypted and encoded. But here you can see this is empty because we want to show you that, for example, on local, probably you don't need an API token. So when we deploy this application, we will pass an API token via Kubernetes secret file. What is a secret file? We will cover it in a bit. So there are one configuration and one secret that this application would have. Now, how we use this configuration is pretty simple because we have a simple controller that we covered in the last video. And what we are doing in this controller, we are simply auto-wiring or injecting the values using Spring property support. Then we added a new endpoint config which simply returns your property, which is message and API token, so that you can investigate in the response. First of all, let's run this application without Kubernetes, without Docker, without image, so that we can check the current values of these properties. So let me run this application and we can see this is up. So we'll go to the terminal and we'll simply call this endpoint to check the values. And you can see that API token is empty. There is no API token on local, and the message property has this value demo application. Now, how do we use Kubernetes support to manage the configurations or secrets? So Kubernetes supports two objects. It provides two objects. The first one is the config map. This is a configuration map that we can create to hold the configurations that we want to support. And the second one is secret. As the name suggests, it is used to manage the secrets that your application needs. So what we will do to deploy this application on Kubernetes, we will also create a config map and we will create a secret to manage the API token. So in the infra folder, we have this deployment.yaml that we already had from the first video. There are two new files. The first one is configmap.yaml and the second one is secret.yaml. Let's check out the configmap.yaml first. So you can see it follows the same pattern. We have a YAML file where we define the object that we are creating. So this object is known as configmap. Then we have the metadata where you give some information about this config map so that we can, let's say, use this information while debugging or during monitoring or something. The important thing is how do you configure the properties or the configurations in the config map. The pattern is you define the data and then you define the property. So this is the same property that we have in the application.yaml. So you can see that app.message. Now the pattern is generally these properties are injected as environment variables, and environment variables by conventions are written in uppercase. So we are following that convention, but if you change it to, let's say, lowercase, it would still work. And you can see that the underscore is used as a separator because in application.yaml, the actual property that you have is app.message. And you can see it in the controller that the property that you are reading is app.message. But in configmap, the dot is actually replaced by underscore. But when this property is actually injected into your application, the Spring will take care of it and it will actually replace this underscore with dot so that there is no change in your controller. So this controller would still be able to read this app.message property from the config map. Now, this is one of the ways of defining the configurations in the config map, which is in place where you write the config or the property directly in the config map. But it could also happen that you have a file, let's say application.yaml file or any other file where you have all these configurations. Then in that case, there is another way to simplify this thing where you still define the config map, but you actually refer the whole file here, and the Kubernetes will actually inject all those properties to your application. So in that case, you don't have to write or repeat all the properties here in this YAML file. I will share the resource with the video description for that one. So because we have a single property, so we are using the in place method under data, we are simply defining the configuration with the value that we want to override. So earlier in the application, the value was demo application, but in the config map, it is K8s demo application. So we modified the message. Now in the same way, to manage the secrets, there is another object and you have to create the secret. So you can see that the object type here is the secret. Again, we see the same pattern, the metadata, the type is opaque. And here again, there are a couple of ways to actually add the secrets. The first one is where you add the secret, the actual value itself. So in this case, let's say your API token is some hash code, then you can actually put the same hash code here. And then we define the property, which is again following the same pattern, your app underscore and the name of the property, which is API token. And if you see that this is the same thing, app.api token, and then you will provide the value itself directly without encoding, without encrypting or anything. So in this case, say my API token is the string value, some random token. The good thing is the token I don't need to commit in the application, but not so good thing is the token as it is still visible in this YAML file. So we might be thinking now, if the value is visible in this YAML, then how is it secure? And that is why I said there are many different ways to actually manage the secrets. So ideally what would happen, we would use a proper vault to manage the secrets. But for simple things, if we want to use the Kubernetes secrets, then we need to be mindful of these things, that Kubernetes secrets are not encrypted, they are encoded. So in this case, what would happen, because we are using string data, so Kubernetes expect that you pass the value as it is, but what Kubernetes will do, it will actually encode this value, and this encoding is base 64 encoding. So the value would be encoded by Kubernetes and the value will be injected into your application. But when the application accepts the value will be automatically decoded. So you don't have to encode or decode. This will be handled by Kubernetes. But please be mindful that anybody can decode this value. This is not encrypted. Kubernetes does not handle encryption out of the box. There are ways to do that, but for that we need to do something extra. So what would happen in this case, because we are using string data and we are passing the value as it is, so Kubernetes will actually encode this value, and this will be base 64 encoding, and the encoded value will be passed to your application. Kubernetes will handle the encoding and decoding bit. So we created the config map for the simple property, and we also created the secret to store the API token. The next step is to deploy everything. Now, the good thing about this config map and secret is that your controller remains the same. You don't need to make any changes to your existing code. It will read the properties in the same way it is reading the properties from application.yaml. Before we move on, just a quick note on the secrets. So as we see that secrets, if committed directly to the YAML, are still visible, then what is the security aspect of this thing? And we said that, okay, we would use Vault. From Kubernetes perspective, Kubernetes relies on RBAC policy. So it assumes that if you have proper RBAC policies, then not all the members would have access to the secret.yaml, and not all of them would be able to deploy or say the secret.yaml. So there are certain checks that Kubernetes assumes in the form of RBAC policies, that only a subset of people who have the right permission or the right role would be able to A, deploy the YAML, or C, or commit the actual YAML. So there is a layer of security. So let's move on and we'll actually deploy this application. Now, since we have actually made a code change in the application, so we need to recreate the image. And for that, we will go to the pom.xml. And as you can see in the image name, we are using project.version. So let's bump the version to create a new image. and this time we will call it 1.1 snapshot. And since we are using Spring Boot build image plugin, so let's create the image again. So the plugin ran successfully and we should have the image. So let's check that out. If we run Docker images, then we can see this is the image that we just created. So we have the image. The next step is to actually deploy the application. But before that, there is one critical thing missing, which is we have the config map, we have the secret, but how do we feed these two things to the application? Now in Kubernetes, we run the application by deploying the deployment, and here is how we define the nature of application or the application that we want to run. And here we define everything like, okay, this is the image. But if you notice, we haven't configured anywhere that this is the config map that this application should refer to basically resolve the property, or this is the secret that application should refer to read the API token. We did not do anything in the Docker image or somewhere else. So how does Kubernetes know or make sure that these two YAML files or these two objects are properly injected to the application? So there is some configuration that we need to make in the deployment.yaml. So basically we need to link this container, this deployment, to secret and config map. So I'm going to copy paste the required bits, and you can see these are the attributes that we need to add to link the deployment to config map or to secret. So we add the attribute environment from. That means we are telling Kubernetes where to read the environment variables. And as we discussed, the properties are injected as environment variables. So the first thing we are telling to Kubernetes is that you need to refer the config map, and we need to provide the name of the config map that this deployment should refer. And this is the name that goes here. So let's copy this one and we'll go to the deployment, and we need to pass this name. In the same way, we are defining that you need to read some environments from the secret and you need to refer this secret. Again, let's provide the same name that is here in the metadata. And that's it. Now everything is complete and linked. So in the deployment.yaml, we are telling that there are some environment variables or some extra configurations or secrets that you need to refer from this config map and this secret. So in this case, there is only one property and one secret, so all of them will be mapped and injected. But in case your config map and secrets define many properties, then all of them would be available for the application. Okay, so now that we have everything ready, all the YAML files, let's deploy this application. Before that, we need to make sure that your Docker is running. I mean, the Docker desktop is running and you have the Kubernetes cluster up and running. So let's open the terminal and start deploying all these things. So my YAML files are in infra folder. So let's go in the order service and infra folder. And the first thing we will do, let's check what is running currently on Kubernetes. So if I check Kubernetes get pods, then I don't see anything because we haven't deployed anything. So which is a good thing. Now we need to deploy the config map and secret first before we deploy the deployment, because deployment is actually referring to the config map and secret. So how to do that? We know it already. We use kubectl apply command -f and the file name, because we are in the same directory. So we just need to give the file name, which is configmap.yaml. And you can see that a config map has been created. We will check this in a second. In the same way, let's apply the secret. And we can see that the config map and secrets are now created and available. We haven't deployed the deployment yet, but first let's check out the config map and the secret here. So if I say kubectl get config maps, then I would see all the config maps available on my Kubernetes cluster right now. And this is the one that we just created, order service config map. In the same way, we can check the secrets as well. And you can see this is the secret, order service secret, that we created just now. We can also inspect this config map and secrets. So let's try to do that. We will say kubectl get config map, name of the config map. And then we want to inspect it as the YAML, which is basically the representation, output representation. And you can see that this is the same config map. You can inspect it here that this has the property that we need, which is app message. In the same way, we can also inspect the secret. And I made a mistake. It should be kubectl get. Now you can see that we can actually see the secret that Kubernetes created. An important thing to highlight is that in this case, you can see that the API token is actually encoded. And that's what we were discussing, that if you use string data and pass the value as it is, even then when you create the secret, Kubernetes will actually encode this using base 64 encoding. So you can see it happening here, that the value is actually encoded, not the one that you committed. Now, when this will be injected to the application, the value will be decoded automatically by the Kubernetes, and the application would actually see some random token. All right. So that is what happens. The values are encoded but not encrypted. Okay. So now that we have created the config map and the secret, let's deploy the deployment. And we can see that the deployment has been created. So let's check if the pods are up. And we can see that there are 2 pods. Now that we have the pods running, we have the application running, we need to test it. And we will do that by hitting the same config endpoint to see the properties are correctly injected. And to test the application, we will use the same port forward command, because we haven't covered anything related to services that we will do in future videos. So let's run the port forward command, kubectl port forward. And we need to bind the port 8080. And I made a mistake. We need to correct the deployment, which is only order-service. So the port forwarding is done. Let's go to the terminal and check the same command. And there is an error, 404. This path is not found. This is working, but this is not. So we made a mistake, which is a good thing. Oh, so in the deployment, we are actually using 1.0 snapshot, which is the old image, and the old image does not have the new endpoint. So since we actually bumped the version and created the new image, which is 1.1 snapshot, the deployment is still referring to the old one. So we need to actually change this one as well. And we need to redeploy this deployment. So let's go to the terminal. And I will also say rollout restart deployment like this. So this will now restart the deployment and the pods are running. Let's rerun the port forward command. And we'll go to the terminal again, and this time, yeah. So this time it is working. So we can see that the message is K8s demo application and the API token is some random value. So what happened, if you remember, in the application.yaml, let's check out the application.yaml as well. So in the application.yaml, we had the app.message as demo application and the API token was empty. But when we deployed this application to Kubernetes, we linked it to this config map and we did an override of this message to be K8s demo application. That's what we see here. And in the same way for secret, we actually provided some random token, the value, which we saw actually was encoded, but here you can see it was automatically decoded and we see the same value. So that is how we create the configurations, and we can create the secrets using Kubernetes native solutions, which are Configmap and Secrets. So in this video, we learned how to create and how to work with config maps and secrets with Spring Boot application. And this thing will be useful for us when we modify this application with some database support, because we will then configure the database username, database password. And in future, when we actually do service-to-service communication, service-to-service calls, then we will also probably store some API tokens or some other sensitive values. So all of these pieces will be linked together for the future videos. So that is why these foundational concepts are important to understand and learn. So that's all for this video. And in the next video, we will cover something else on Spring Boot and Kubernetes. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.